Why is it so hard to buy a Rolex? You walk into a Rolex boutique. The lights are bright, the display cases sparkle, but the trays inside, completely empty. No watches on display, no price tags, nothing to pick up. And even if you ask a salesperson, they just smile politely and tell you, "We can put you on the waiting list." Why is this? Why would one of the most famous, successful watch brands in the world, a company that sells over 1 million watches every year, make it nearly impossible for you to actually buy one? It seems backward. A business that doesn't want your money, but as you're about to see, it's actually one of the smartest business strategies in luxury. And one of the big reasons Rolex is more desirable than ever. In this video, we'll break down how Rolex keeps demand high, how they've turned waiting lists into marketing, and why scarcity is a luxury brand's best friend. Here's the first thing you need to know. Rolex is not actually rare. Every year, Rolex produces around 1 million watches. That's more than almost any other luxury watch brand. And yet, you can't find them anywhere. How is that possible? The answer is simple. Rolex doesn't sell directly to consumers. They sell to authorized dealers, and Rolex controls exactly how many watches those dealers are allowed to sell and which models. This creates what's known as artificial scarcity. Even though there are plenty of watches being made, Rolex ensures that demand is always higher than supply. And this is no accident. It's by design. In the world of luxury, perception is everything. People don't buy a Rolex because they need a watch. They buy it because of what it represents: success, achievement, status. But if everyone could walk into a store and buy one instantly, that illusion would fade. By limiting availability, Rolex makes the experience of buying one feel like an achievement in itself. It's human psychology. When something is hard to get, we automatically believe it's more valuable. This principle has a name: the scarcity effect. The fewer watches Rolex allows into stores, the more desirable those watches become. And by the time you finally get the call that your watch is ready, you're not just buying a timepiece. You're buying the story of how you earned it. And that brings us to the waiting list. If you've ever tried to buy a Rolex, you know the drill. You walk in. You ask for a model. The salesperson says, "We don't have any in stock, but we can add you to the list." And then you wait. For months. Sometimes years. But here's the genius of this system. The wait becomes part of the experience. When customers wait for something, they start to feel invested in it. The longer they wait, the more they want it. It's the same reason people camp outside Apple stores the night before a new iPhone release. The wait itself builds hype. And Rolex dealers have another trick. They prioritize customers who've already bought other products from them. So you might be encouraged to buy jewelry or another watch just to prove you're a serious customer and move up the list. That's more revenue for the dealer and a more loyal customer for Rolex. Because of this scarcity, another market has exploded: the resale market. People are willing to pay huge premiums to skip the wait. Take the Rolex Daytona, for example. Retail price, about $15,000. But on the resale market, it can sell for $30,000 or even more, depending on the condition. In fact, many Rolex models actually appreciate in value over time, making them not just a luxury item, but an investment. And here's the brilliant part. Rolex doesn't earn a single dollar from resale. But they don't have to. Every time someone sells a used Rolex for double its original price, it reinforces the idea that a Rolex is worth waiting for. It keeps the brand in the news, keeps demand high, and keeps customers convinced they're buying something that holds or even grows, in value. It's tempting for a company to just sell as many products as possible. But Rolex understands that in luxury, restraint is more powerful than volume. Other watch brands like Omega or Tag Heuer produce more watches and keep them in stock. But you rarely hear about people waiting months or years for those brands, and that's exactly why they don't carry the same mystique. By deliberately holding back supply, Rolex maintains control over how people perceive the brand. They've created an ecosystem where customers compete for the privilege of buying, instead of Rolex competing for customers. So why does this strategy work so well? Because Rolex isn't selling watches, they're selling identity. When you finally get your hands on a Rolex, you're not just buying a timepiece, you're buying a story you can tell. You can say, I was on the waiting list for 2 years. I earned this. Not everyone can get one. It's a badge of honor. And that's what luxury is really about, creating a feeling that goes beyond the product itself. So the next time you walk into a Rolex boutique and see empty display cases, don't be frustrated. That's not a mistake. That's the strategy. Scarcity creates value. Waiting creates desire. And wanting something you can't have, that's what keeps you coming back. Rolex has mastered the art of making you want what you can't easily get. And that's why they remain one of the most successful luxury brands in the world. If you found this video insightful, give it a like. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe to Rich Explained for more stories about how the ultra-rich and powerful play the game differently. Comment below. If you could pick any Rolex, which one would you choose, and why? Until next time, keep learning, keep thinking differently, and keep playing smarter.